Hey, welcome everybody. CP Cards and Dice. Hope you're all well. This is the Expos playing the 79 Mets. This is game 4 of a 4-game set. I believe the Mets are one win and 2 losses. Mets record now, they've won 50 games, but they lost 101. It's about 6 games fewer wins than they had during the season in 79. And it's going to be Mike Scott on the mound for the Mets. Mike Scott pitched in 18 games. He's a 1-3 record and a 5.33 ERA. He can go 6 innings, or in the 6th inning he goes fatigued. Leading off is going to be Cromartie. He's going to be in left field. Batting second is Dave Cash. Second baseman. Batting third is Andre Dawson. In center field, Rusty Staub. Le Grand Orange. At first base, batting cleanup. Batting fifth is Gary Carter, the catcher. Jerry White in right field. Batting sixth, batting seventh is Larry Parrish, the third baseman. Batting eighth is Chris Spire, shortstop. And then it is Scott Sanderson, the pitcher. And Sanderson was 9-8 with a 3.43 ERA. We're right about to get started. Warren Cromartie bats from the left side. We are in downtown Flushing, Queens, 1979. Playing payoff pitch. You roll 2 6-sided die. You look on the pitcher's card. It's a 7. That's going to be a ball that's in play. You're going to look now at the 2 10-sided. It's a 29. An in-play 29 versus a right-hander is, just misses being a hit. And it ends up being a line out to the second baseman, Kelvin Chapman, right there. Route number 1. Dave Cash. That's an 8. That's a tough pitch. It's a tough 67. Tough 67. And that's line and caught again by Chapman. So back-to-back lineouts to the second baseman. Andre Dawson with 2 outs. Top of the first. 3. That's tough. A tough 26. And that's strike 3. Dawson. K's. And we go to the Mets. Half of the inning. Bottom of the inning. Scott Sanderson facing Kelvin Chapman, who's leading off. Kelvin Chapman, 80 at bats, batted, I'd say about 170. It's going to be a 7. The 7 is in play 0-2 against a righty, and that's going to be a ball that's driven in gap. And after it is Dawson. And into second base with a leadoff double is Kelvin Chapman. Bruce Beauclair, left-handed batter, batting second. And that's a 3. That's a tough 75. And that's a fly ball, center field. Batting third is Lee Mazzilli. On deck is Richie Hebner. Batting fifth is Ed Kranepool, the first baseman. In the 6th slot is the right fielder, Elliot Maddox. Batting 7th is Ron Hodges, the catcher. Batting 8th is Doug Flynn, the shortstop today. Chapman at second base. Flynn is normally the second baseman. And Mike Scott, the pitcher. Batting 9th. Lee Mazzilli playing center field today. For the last week, he's been playing first base. Hey there, Philip. How are you, brother? A little bit late. According to Bukechi. Yes, that's true, sir. Snake Guy's Wheelhouse off Sanderson's card from Mazzilli. It's going to be a 58 Wheelhouse. And, that's a few numbers, a few digits outside of the hit range. And that's going to be a fly ball, deep right field, Jerry White to the track. Makes the running catch. A few steps from the warning track. And that retires the side. I'm sorry. It's out number 2. Richie Hebner. That's a 4. That's patient. A patient 14, and that's ball 4. So Hebner manages a walk. First and second, 2 outs. Eddie Kranepool. Kranepool has been his whole career with the Mets. Retires in 1979. So he's got 50 more games, and then he's done for his career. That's a 7. In play 19. And that's going to be a line drive into left. And with 2 outs, both runners, Hebner is going to stop at second, but Chapman is going to be able to score. So it's going to be a single, RBI single Chapman's going to score, but stopping at second is going to be Hebner. And let me double check Chapman, make sure. So Mets are up 1-0. Yep, Chapman is an 8, so he runs well. So Chapman makes it home on the RBI single. Ball was cut off, and that kept Richie Hebner at second base. Elliot Maddox now. That's an 8. That's tough. A tough 32. Make sure it's not a wild pitch. Anything in the early 30s is usually a wild pitch. A tough 32 is strike 3, and Maddox goes down swinging, and that retires the side. Legrand Orange coming up to bat. Legrand Orange. Don't know what I do with the. What I do with the cards. Oh, okay. Didn't know what I do with the cards. Put them in the wrong spot. So Mike Scott, right-hander, facing Rusty Staub. That's an 8. That's going to be a tough pitch, a tough 68, and that's going to be a ground ball to the shortstop. That's Flynn up with it, fires the first, gets Staub. Gary Carter's next, 8. That's another tough pitch, 21, strike 3. Carter fans for out number 2, and it's switch hitter Jerry White batting from the left side. That's Wheelhouse. Wheelhouse 41 against a righty, and that's going to be line base hit center field. So that's the first hit for the Expos, a 2-out single by Jerry White. Jerry White's playing right field today for the Expos. Larry Parrish, that's a 7. 7 is in play, 82. That's going to be an easy out, and that's popped up. It'll be on the left side. Flynn calls for it, makes the catch, and that retires the side. So after 1.5, it's 1-0 New York. Scott Sanderson facing Ron Hodges. Now, Ron Hodges has been with the Mets for a while. We actually have some baseball cards around here somewhere. Let's look and see how long Hodges has been with the Mets. I picked this set up. You can buy a set. I got a couple of complete sets, and I was thinking of dividing them up into teams and selling them to gamers, just so you can see what the guys look like, and you can kind of. So Hodges has been with the Mets since '73. That was their big year. Played in 45 games in '73. That's when they went to the World Series against the A's. So he's been with the Mets. Well, he's been with the Mets for the last 7 years. Catcher Ron Hodges, left-handed batter. And Ron Hodges in '79 batted about 160. That's a 6. That's a tough 29. That's strike 3. Hodges strikes out, goes back to the bench. Now it's Doug Flynn, and Mike Scott is on deck. 10. That's tough. A tough 85. A ground ball shortstop. Spire up with it, fires the first. 2 down. And it's Mike Scott. Mike Scott is a pitcher hitting card of 1. That's an 8. That's another tough 0-1. Strike 3, and that retires the side. Go to the top of the third. 1-0 Mets. Mets need to score a few more runs if they expect to have any hope to win their 51st game of 1979. 5. A patient 77. It's a fly ball, shallow center, running in as Mazzilli gets there. 1 out. Pitcher hitting card, a 5. And that's a 9. A 9 is a patient 18. And that is a ball that's pulled down the line into the left field corner. And Sanderson is in with a double. A 1-out double for the pitcher, Scott Sanderson. Hook one into left field corner and Bo Claire. Got it to second base, but not nearly in time. And it's Warren Cromartie. 10. That's in play 0-7. An in play 0-7 is going to be a ball that's driven into center field and over Mazzilli's head. And around to score is Sanderson, and in with a RBI double is Warren Cromartie. Dave Cash up next. The ball game is tied now with 1 out. We're on second base. Here's the pitch to Dave Cash. That's a 6. That's in play. An in play 0-6. Wow, another low number. An in play 0-6, and that's going to be a ball that's driven in the gap, and that's going to split the outfielders. That's going to roll to the wall. Cromartie around to score. RBI double for Dave Cash, and he's on. So it's back-to-back-to-back doubles. Andre Dawson. Here's the pitch to Andre Dawson. That's a 7. That's in play 0-7 again. Holy smokes! This is going to be wow. This is going to be a shot. This is deep off the wall, and that's going to score Cash. And Dawson is thinking of going for third, and he is. And here's the throw, and he is out. No, safe under the tag. Triple. So now we got a double, triple against Mike Scott. Infield's in for the Mets here. That's a 7 in play 23. And that's going to be a ground ball for Rusty Staub and through into right field for an RBI single. It's 4-1 Expos. So Rusty's on at first with an RBI single. And it's Gary Carter. And that's an 8. That's tough. A tough 17. That's strike 3. Out number 2. Gary Carter strikes out. Jerry White. That's 5. Patient 33. Patient 33 is ball 4. So Mike Scott has really struggled in this inning. Larry Parrish, 2 outs. Runners on first and second, 4-1 Expos. They scored 4 runs in this top of the third. That's an 8. That's tough. A tough 0-7. It's strike 3. Mike Scott blows it by Larry Parrish, and that retires the side. But not before picking up 4 runs. And the Expos lead at 4-1 going to the bottom of the third. Chapman. That's a 6. That's tough. A tough 48 is going to be a ground ball and through into left field for a single. So Chapman is 2 for 2. Bruce Beauclair. That's a 5. That's a patient 47. And that's going to be a ground ball to second base. Maybe a double play. Let's see what happens here. I think it is. It's a 5, 4, 3 round the horn double play. Let's take a look at that. Ground ball to Parrish, over to Cash. Relay to first, in time. 2 outs. Lee Mazzilli. Mazzilli's 0 for 1. He flied out. That's a 5. That's patient. 74, and that's right outside of singles range. And that's going to be lined and caught by Dave Cash to retire the side. So Mazzilli hit it on the nose, but right at Cash. Go to the top of the 4th. 4-1 Expos. So Mets are on their way to losing yet another game. Their 102nd loss of the year, if this holds up. 11 defense. We're going to pull a fast action card. There's no. This is a chartless game, by the way, with the fast action cards. So we look up here in the defense section, because we're on a defensive result. 11 says defense. It says range right field. So Elliot Maddox is in right field. We're going to look at his range rating. His range rating in right field is a B, not too shabby. So we look 1 to 34 is going to be a hit, and we rolled a 0-0. Holy smokes. That's going to be an unusual play. An unusual play, and I have to now. This is the only time I go through charts. Unusual play result with nobody on. Let's see. We're going to roll 2 dice. 2 to 12. 6. Batter hits ground ball to shortstop. Pulls up lane, trying to beat out throw. So it's 6 to 3 and out. They're going to be trainers out to check on Spear. And he's going to be all right. Be 6-3 out. A lot of the rare events are injuries. I'd like to change that. I'm probably going to have some fun changing that. I always say I'm going to do stuff, never do. I just never seem to have the time. Scott Sanderson, 1 out. Mike Scott, the pitch, 7. In play, 42. In play, 42, and that's a pop-up to the left side. Shortstop Flynn calling for it. 2 out. And it's Warren Cromartie. Cromartie's 1 for 2. Lined out and doubled. Oh, Jesus. That's an 8. That's tough. A tough 19 is a line drive, base hit right field. Maddox plays it in on a hop. Cromartie's on it first. 2 out single for Warren Cromartie. That's his 7th Expo hit of the game. Here's the pitch to Dave Cash, who's 1 for 2. That's a 7. That's in play 39. In play 39, and that's going to be a pop-up. Again, left side. Right there's Flynn. Puts it away, retires the side. We go to the bottom of the 4th. 4-1 Expos. Richie Hebner, left-handed batter. Highest paid player on the Mets at $200,000. Richie Hebner didn't last long with the Mets. Let's take a quick peek at what Richie Hebner looked like. Let's see. Richie Hebner, there he is. Got a big chunk of probably chewing tobacco in his mouth. And Richie Hebner, up to this point, played with Pittsburgh his whole career. And then he went to the Phillies for 2 years, and then he came to the Mets in 79. So this is his first year with the Mets, and I believe it's his last year with the Mets. At a 260 with the Mets in that year. Richie Hebner. That's a 7. In play, 87. And that's going to be a ground ball, second base, Cash to Staub, 4-3, out number 1. Eddie Kranepool. That's a 5. That's Patient, a Patient 69. Patient 69, and that's going to be a ground ball to short. To Hopper to Spear. And that's 2 outs, and it's Elliot Maddox. That's a 4. Patient, a Patient 84. That's going to be a ground ball to short. That retires the side. Mike Scott against Andre Dawson here in the top of the 5th inning. That's ballpark, 40, and that's going to be against a righty. That's going to be to 33, so it's not going to be ballpark. Goes to the in-play section. So we're going to roll 2 10-sided die. That's an 11 on in-play, and that is going to be a line drive base hit to left. So Dawson is on. He had 35 stolen bases. We're going to try to get a lead here. We need 6 or less, and we roll a 7, so he does not get a lead. So Dawson is not going to manage a lead. And it's Rusty Staub. That's 5. That's Patient. A Patient 30. He has no wild pitches. So a Patient 30 is going to be ball 4, and that's going to be it. It's going to be it for Mike Scott. And Mike Scott is actually due up in the next inning. But there's nobody out, and he allowed 2 men on, so we're going to have to bring in Roy Lee Jackson. Roy Lee Jackson pitched in 8 games, 16 innings for the Mets since 79. Gary Carter runs on first and second. Here's the pitch. Let me put in Roy Lee Jackson real quick. And that's going to be a 6, which is Patient, a Patient 49. And that's going to be a hard ground ball into left field. And runners are going to stop. They're going to advance 1 base. So the bases are going to be loaded, nobody out. This will be Jerry White batting from the left side. He's a switch hitter. Infield's back for the Mets. In play, 77. That's going to be a fly ball, center field. Shallow center. Nobody's going to tag, or they're going to tag, but they're not going to advance. Going to respect Mazzilli's arm. Larry Parrish, corners in. middle, halfway. And that's going to be 7. Tough. A tough 21. That's strike 3. Big strikeout. Larry Parrish down swinging. Outside slider gets Parrish. And that's 2 outs now. And it's Chris Spire with the bases loaded. 6. That's Patient. A Patient 33. Oh, just missed being a wild pitch. Patient 33 is going to be a ball that's driven into the gap. Mazzilli after. That's going to roll to the wall. And into scores Dawson, followed by Staub. Carter. Let's see what Carter looks like. And Carter's going to hold the third. Well, actually, I got to check that on here. Runners advance 2 bases. Carter will hold the third. 2-run, 2-out double for Chris Spire. And it's 6-1 now. Scott Sanderson. That's an 8. That's in play 0-2, and that's going to be a ball that's pulled down the line into the corner, and that's Beauclair after it. That's going to score 2 more, 8-1. 2-run, 2-out double for the pitcher, Scott Sanderson. Can't believe he rolled out. That's an in play, and an in play 0-2 for a 5 pitcher is a double. 8-1, so this game's over. Warren Cromartie against Roy Lee Jackson. 8. That's in play. And that's a 43. It's going to be an easy out. Ground ball to the first baseman. We're going to see if he flips to the pitcher covering. He does not. Takes it himself. And that, my friends, retires the side. But not before the Expos pick up 4 big runs, and they lead it 8-1 for the bottom of the 5th. Scott Sanderson on the mound. Scott Sanderson becomes fatigued in the 7th. We're playing payoff pitch, chartless baseball. Everything comes off the cards. Here's the pitch from Scott Sanderson to Ron Hodges. Hodges is 0 for 1. He struck out. That's Patient 12. That's going to be ball 4. So Hodges walks. He's on at first. Next is Doug Flynn. That's a 10. A tough 60. And that's going to be a ground ball second base. This could be a double play. Let's see if they can turn it. And they absolutely most likely do. And it's going to be a 4. Cash to Spire to Staub. 2 outs. Nice double play by the Expos. Pitcher spot, Roy Lee Jackson is up. We're going to let Roy Lee Jackson bat. Just got to find out what he is. He's an 11 batter. So I got to find a pitcher hitting card. They're hiding back here. Ugh. Pitcher hitting card 11. At this point, being 8-1 down, and the Mets have a horrible offense, I'm basically letting the pitcher bat just to get through this game. So it's Roy Lee Jackson with an 11 pitcher hitting card. That's a 10. That's a tough 0-2, and that's strike 3. Sanderson blows it by Roy Lee Jackson, and that retires the side. Roy Lee Jackson against Dave Cash. That's an 11. A tough 37. Oh, wait a second. Tough 37. That's going to be a ground ball up the middle and through into center field for a single. And that's a 7. That's tough. A tough 22. And that's strike 3. Dawson. Fans. 1 out. Rusty Staub. Rusty Staub is 1 for 2. That's an 8. That's in play. An 80. In play 80. And that's going to be a fly ball center field. On the run is Mazzilli. Tracks it down. 2 out. Gary Carter. Gary Carter's 1 for 3. Struck out twice and singled. That's going to be a 6. So he's going to show his patience. 96. 96 is going to be a fly ball. Gets under it. High fly to left field. Bruce Beauclair pounds the glove, makes the catch, retires aside. We go to Chapman here in the bottom of the 6th. Kelvin Chapman leading off. He's 2 for 2. That's a 7 in play. An in play 27. And that is a comebacker. Scott Sanderson snatches it, feels his position, throws out Chapman. Bruce Beauclair's 0 for 2. He's flat out and grounded out. That's an 8. That's a tough pitch, 41. That's going to be strike 3, Beauclair. Fans. Mazzilli. Mazzilli's 0 for 2. That's a 4. That's patient. Oh, snake eyes. So again, we have to go. This is the only time I'm using the chart. That's not snake eyes. It's double zeros. Excuse me. We're going to roll 2 dice to find out. Bases empty, rare play. But most of these are just injuries or rain delay. Yeah, I don't do rain delays. I don't do injuries, so I'm not worried about that. Got to change that whole chart. So Mazzilli's still up. He's got a pitch from Sanderson. Let me grab another die. It's going to be a 6. That's tough. A tough 38. And that's going to be a ball that's driven in the gap. Mazzilli around first into second base with a 2-out double. Excuse me. Next is Richie Hebner. That's snake eyes. That's wheelhouse. See, wheelhouse 38. And that's going to be a line drive base hit. Let's see if that's, well, Mazzilli should score. Yep, he does. 8-2 Mets. RBI single by Richie Hebner. Oh, let's back up out of that. RBI single. Mazzilli scores. Hebner's on at first. 2 out. Runner on at first. 8-2 Expos. Bottom of the 6th. Eddie Kranepool. That's a 3. That's tough. A tough 86. And that is going to be a ground ball second base. Cash to Spire. And that retires aside. So this is the 3rd inning for Roy Lee Jackson. He was actually in the Met bullpen. That's a 5. A 5 is defense, so we're going to pull a defensive card. It's going to tell us range third base. Hebner at third base has poor range. He's not a very good third baseman. His range is a D at third base. That's going to be 1-53 is going to be a hit, and we rolled a 32. So that is going to be, let's see if it's a double or a single. And that's going to be a ball that's underneath Hebner's glove all the way into the corner, and into second base is White with a double. Leadoff double for Jerry White. Parrish, 7, tough. A tough 25 is strike 3. Jackson blows it by Parrish. Spire, that's a 9. That's a tough 25. And that's a strikeout. Back-to-back Ks for Roy Lee Jackson. And it's a pitcher spot. And that's going to be an 8 in play, 0-7. Oh, boy, the pitcher spot. Holy smokes. This is going to be Sanderson's 3rd hit of the day. And it is a base hit single. And that's going to score White. White is a, oh, no. Let's see what it says here on the card. Runner score. No, that's advance 1 base. So they're going to hold. They're going to hold White at 3rd on the single. So 1st and 3rd. And we're going to get a relief pitcher. That's all for Roy Lee Jackson. That's it for Roy Lee Jackson. Going to get Dwight Bernard is coming in. Dwight Bernard has a couple of fans in the stands, it sounds like. So Warren Cromartie, there's 2 outs, runners on 1st and 3rd. Right-hander Dwight Bernard, who was 0-3 with a 4.70 ERA in 32 games. That's a 10. That's in play, and in play 60. And that's going to be a Fly ball, shallow left into the corner as Beauclair runs it down. That retires the side. Nice catch by Bruce Beauclair in left. Going to the bottom of the 7th. Sanderson's going to face Maddox, Hodges, and Flynn. That's a 9. A 9 is ballpark. A 64 is going to be in play, and that's going to be an out. An 80-something, 87. That's a ground ball short. 1 away. Ron Hodges is 0 for 1. He struck out and walked. That's a 7. That's in play. 89. That's going to be an out. It's a ground ball to second this time. Dave Cash to his right. Fires to first, throws out Hodges, and it's Doug Flynn. Doug Flynn's 0 for 2. Grounded out twice. That's a tough pitch. 0-0. Another. This is the third rare play chart, and I don't know why I do these. 10. Catcher hit by foul ball, check for injury. Don't do injuries. Yeah, it's not going to work for me. That's not going to work for me. Let's probably start ignoring that. 5. That's Patient. Patient 49. And that's going to be hit hard down the line. Oh, nice play by Parrish. Up with it. Fires the first and gets Flynn 5-3. That retires the side. We go to the top of the 8th. Dwight Bernard. He's going to face Dave Cash. Cash is 2 for 4. Lined out, doubled, flied out, and singled. I always thought Dave Cash was a black guy, and I saw his card, and he's a white guy. I don't know why I thought he was a black guy. I don't understand why. 9, Patient 48. That's going to be a ground ball and through into left field. Dave Cash is on it first, and then it's Andre Dawson. It's 8-2 Expos. 10 in play, and in play 58. And we may get a double play out of this one. I don't know. Nope. Fly ball, right side. Maddox back a few steps, makes the catch. Rusty Staub's 1 for 3. He's grounded out, singled, walked, and flied out. 4, Patient, a Patient 82. That's going to be a pop-up to second base, Chapman. In shallow right field, makes the catch. Gary Carter now with 2 outs. Here's the pitch from Dwight Bernard. That's 5. That's Patient 13. That's going to be ball 4. So Carter manages a walk here in the top of the 8th inning. It's 8-2. Expos. Next is Jerry White. Jerry White is 2 for 3. Single, walk, flat out, and doubled. That's going to be 7. That's tough. A tough 75. Tough 75. And that is a fly ball. Deep center field. Back goes Mazzilli to the track. Makes a catch. Nice running catch by Lee Mazzilli. Flashing the leather here. And what is a blowout, 8-2. And that's a blowout. It's not like playing a game in 2019. So Sanderson, let's see if we pull Sanderson. We're going to get a pinch hitter. We're going to use Stearns as a pinch hitter here. Let's find Stearns. John Stearns is going to pinch hit. And we're going to let Sanderson had 5 complete games. We're going to let him in 24 starts. So it's going to be John Stearns. Here's the pitch to Stearns. That's a 5. A Patient 97. That's going to be an out. That's going to be a fly ball, left field in the gap. Running it down is Cromartie. Chapman. Chapman's 2 for 3. So 11, that's defense. We're going to pull a card, and that says range second base. Cash at second base. What's his range? Range is a C, so it's going to be 1 to 43 is a hit. We roll a 98. So that's going to be an out. What kind of an out is that? It's going to be ground ball, second base. Cash over to Staub. 2 outs. Payoff pitch, 1979. If things hold up, Mets lose their 102nd game. It's Bruce Beauclair. He's 0 for 3. Flied out, grounded out, struck out. We roll a 6. That's going to be a tough pitch, a tough 85. And a tough 85 is a fly ball, center field in the gap. Dawson runs it down, and that retires the side. Nice catch by Andre Dawson. Dwight Bernard. We pinch hit for him, so he's out. We're going to need a new pitcher for the Mets. Who's it going to be? Who's it going to be? It's going to be Ed Glynn. Ed Glynn. I believe Ed Glynn is still around. Against Larry Parrish here at the top of the ninth. It's 8-2 Expos. 6 in play, 18. In play, 18 is a line drive base hit to left field. Beauclair plays it on a hop. Chris Spire. 7. That's tough. A tough 31. Tough 31 is strike 3. Oh, he's a lefty. Tough 31 against a lefty is a whole different story. And that's going to be a line drive base hit to center field. Stopping at second is Larry Parrish. So it's going to be Scott Sanderson still in the game. We're going to let him bat. We're not going to bunt him. That's a 7. That's a tough 46. A tough 46 against a 5 is a strikeout. Strike 3 at Glenn. Curveball fools Sanderson. Sanderson, I believe, had 3 hits. Let's go back and take a quick look. He does. He's 3 for 4. Pitchers, 3 for 4 today. 2 for 5 for the batter now, Warren Cromartie, who runs on first and second, only 1 out. That's an 8. That's patient. A patient 92 against a lefty. And that's going to be a fly ball right field. Snagging it is Elliot Maddox. 2 out. Top of the ninth, 8-2 Expos. Ed Glynn, left-hander. Ed Glynn was 1-4 with a 3 ERA. That's a 9. A patient 62. And that's going to be a ground ball second base. Chapman steps on the bag himself, and that retires the side. So his last licks for the Mets. Here in the bottom half of the ninth inning, Scott Sanderson is going for a complete game. Lee Mazzilli, the batter. That's a 7. That's in play 47. In play 47. And that's a ground ball to the first baseman. Let's see if he flips to the pitcher covering. The way I do that is with an 8-sided die, 1 or 2. He flips to the pitcher, and he does not. So that's Rusty Staub, takes it himself. 3 and assisted. Next is Richie Hebner. He's 1 for 2. That's a 10. 10 is tough. A tough 77. That's a fly ball, sky high, center field. In comes the center fielder. Back goes the second baseman. And they avoid a collision. Dawson makes the catch. 2 out. Ed Kranepool, 1 for 3. Here's the pitch from Sanderson. That's a 5. That's patient, a 36. Patient 36. And that's going to be a line drive base hit to right. Jerry White cuts it off. Gets it in quickly. That's a second hit for Kranepool. And it's Elliot Maddox. Here's the pitch to Elliot Maddox. That's an 11. Defense. See what happens there. Range center field. Andre Dawson, the Hawk. I think that was his nickname, the Hawk. He's a D range. Not a very good range. 1 to 53, and we roll a 0-7. That's going to be a hit, and that's going to be a double, and that's going to score Kranepool. Kranepool was running on contact. And that's going to be a double by Elliot Maddox to drive in the third run of the game, 8-3 now, and that's going to force us into bring a relief pitcher, and we're going to bring in Bill Atkinson. Atkinson's coming in here in the bottom half of the ninth. It's 8-3 Mets. That's going to be Ron Hodges, left-hander. Here's a pitch to Ron Hodges with 2 outs. That's going to be a 9 off the pitcher's card. That's in play 43. In play 43. That's going to be a ground ball hit to Parrish to first, and that is the ball game, folks. 5-3. Game over. Let's pick up 1 run in that 9th inning. Make it 8-3. Let's fill in the win here. The win is going to go to Scott Sanderson. There's not going to be any save. The loss is going to go to Mike Scott. And I'll run down the line scores. For the Expos, visiting New York was 8 runs, 17 hits, no errors, 12 left on base. The Mets had 3 runs, 7 hits, no errors, and 4 left on base. And that's all for Payoff Pitch Baseball. And this is CP Cards and Dice saying thanks for stopping by. Let's get our sound going. Now I'm working on an APA basic modifier, simple modifier. I got one. I'm basing it on the idea. It's an idea that basically, you know how Status Pro, if you ever played Status Pro, there's certain numbers like 11 to 15 if it's a lefty against a lefty, something like that. I'm just off the top of my head. Well, it becomes a hit or an out or something to that effect. Well, I'm trying to make it in APA to where if you roll, let's say the last number that a batter has, that's a 9. Like, you know how APA could have a 9 at 51 or a 9 at 31 or a 9 at 35 or 9 at 42. Well, that number will become an out if you roll it. So if you roll that number, let's say against a lefty, well, that would become an out. That would become like a fly ball. And let's say that way you use your loogies. You know, you have your lefty, he comes in, and it's after the 7th inning. So anything before that, it wouldn't apply. So that's one idea that I have. And then I have an idea about ballpark effects to influence home runs. Like, for example, I was using the 86 Mets as the source. And the 86 Mets gave up very few home runs. So basically it tells you something about Shea Stadium, right? Shea Stadium was not a park to hit home runs in. So I was thinking of doing a ballpark effect there, because when you basically identify the pitcher as being the source of few home runs, and it's because of the park, the pitcher now goes to a park that allows a lot of home runs and gets the the advantage of that. And it's not his pitching that gave him the advantage, but the park itself that gave him the advantage. So that's why I'm thinking of, instead of manipulating pitcher cards and having to do a lot of research on how how all these pitchers did and how many home runs they gave up and so on and so forth, I'll just look at the stadiums. I'll just use like a Stratomatic stadium chart, and just for 86, for example, and just say, okay, these in these stadiums, you're going to get this to happen when there's a home run. It could be either the home run could be either turned into a double, or a double, on the other hand, could be turned into a home run. So that's and it's, you're not really affecting batting averages. You're just affecting the extra base hits for better pitchers who pitch in particular ballparks. So it's not so much the better pitcher, but a lot of times it's the ballpark that is influencing the home runs. I know in Dodger Stadium you didn't give up a lot of home runs, so whoever pitches at Dodger Stadium is not going to hit a lot of home runs there. So they're going to turn those home runs into doubles. And I think that's it. I think that would make the difference in playing APA baseball. The basic game. I really like the basic game because I don't like the extensive charts. I don't like Marino. I mean, it's fine if you use it, you like it, but I'm not going to use it because it's more charts. I don't want to be looking at a bunch of charts. I want to play off the cards. So I'm going to start practicing. I'm playing 1987. I'm replaying the Mets 1987 season, and I have them out here somewhere. I don't know where I put them. But I have to get back to that, and then I'm going to practice and see how it works in a couple of games. I'm going to look at the ballpark effects, and for the ballparks where you don't hit a lot of home runs, well, it's going to be like you're not going to hit a lot of home runs. I don't know what I'm going to do, how I'm going to do it, but I guess I'll kind of weigh, um, you know, what, for example, if you hit twice as many home runs in ballpark A, well, guess what? You're going to hit twice as many home runs in that ballpark. So doubles are going to be turned into home runs at, I guess, double the rate. And then in the opposite, if you hit half the home runs, then you can have half the chance of hitting a home run in that park, and it's going to be turned into a double. So I'm going to try something like that. I think that that's going to make the game more like the way I visualize a baseball game. Whereas, and I'll tell you where this all came from. I was a couple of years ago in summertime. I replayed Sandy Koufax using APA Basic, and you know what? I swear to God, every hit that Sandy Koufax gave up was a double or a home run. That and a walk. It was either a walk and then followed by a home run, or a double followed by a home run, and that's the only way they scored. So I think he didn't give up any singles. He just gave up doubles. So actually, now that I'm thinking out loud, um, this is not going to solve that problem because it just is turning home runs into doubles. Um, and I swear to you, whatever hits Sandy Koufax gave up in that, I think it was a 65 replay. I believe it was 65. It's on there. You can look it up on YouTube. Um, and whatever it was, whether 65 or 66, he gave up nothing but doubles and home runs. Those were the only hits he gave up the whole season. I said, that's not realistic, right? I mean, what pitcher in a replay that who had an outstanding season because he had a mind-bending season gives up only doubles and home runs? That's totally unrealistic. After that, I don't think I ever played app again. I was like, no, I'm not playing this again. I only started playing it recently because of nostalgia, because it's one of my favorite games as a kid. But I have to. Okay, so now thinking out loud, you guys help me to really decide. Okay, I want to turn home runs into doubles and doubles into home runs, but I also want to turn doubles into singles. All right, I want to turn some doubles into singles for certain pitchers. And how do I gauge that to not mess the data up, right? But I can guarantee you that an A pitcher is not only giving up doubles and home runs. I mean, he gives up some singles. So I want to do something simple. I want to do something simple. Um, and I could do. I don't have any ideas right now, so I go on the forums and I chit chat with guys and see if they give me some ideas. But I'm kind of stuck right now because the more you change, the more danger there is to messing up the flow and the stats, and you don't want to do that. And at the same time, I don't want to research tons and have to calculate how many extra base hits every pitcher allowed, because that would be a nightmare scenario for me. So I'm still working on this. It's a work in progress. I have an understanding of how I would do doubles to homers and homers to doubles, and how I would do the splits, right? The platoon advantage. Very simple. But now, how do I calculate when I should turn a double into a single? I could do it like, let's say, after the seventh inning. Like any double after the seventh inning. No, couldn't do that. How about? I don't know. I got to think about this more. But while I'm thinking about this, I'm not going to be playing APA Basic. That's for sure. Because it's just like I said, it's just not going to be realistic the way it is. It's fun, grant you, it's a lot of fun, but it's just not realistic the way it stands right now. And I explained to you why. I gave you a specific explanation as to why we have to adjust it somehow. I don't want to use Merino boards because I want to look at charts. There's enough looking at charts with APA to begin with. You got your chart runners on first and second chart, runners on first and third chart, runners on bases loaded chart. And that's why I haven't been playing APA. I mean, I love APA. Don't get me wrong. I love it, the game. I have it in my heart. But I'm not going to play when those stats are going to come out like that. And I got to do all that chart lookup. So I got to figure out how I'm going to beat all that. So that's it. CP cards and dice. Trying to get my corny song. Philip Reynolds called my song corny. And the Mets lose their 102nd game of the season. They're 50 wins, and at this point they had 56 wins. So I'm 6 wins fewer than they actually had in the season. But the stats for payoff pitch are amazing, guys. This game stands up to any other game on the market. I mean, I've played 150 games now, and I mean, it's uncanny how exact the stats are. Okay, and I'll give you some examples of that. All right, I did this the other day. I want to do it again, just to prove it to you, so you can go out and be like, okay, this is a game to be reckoned with. All right, this is a game that stands up to any other game that's out there. Let's look at the team stats. Let's look at team stats, and I'll go over some team stats with you real quick here, and you're going to see that most batting averages are just a few points from the actual, except for a couple of anomalies. You always have that. Like Lee Mazzilli batted 300, right? Lee Mazzilli batted 300, but in our game he's batting 329. But in reality, he hit 15 home runs, and in the game he has 15 home runs. Yeah, exactly. All right. Who else? Let's see somebody else. Richie Hebner. Hebner bats 240, and in reality he batted 260. So he's about 20 points off. But Hebner had 8 home runs, and in our replay, he actually had 10 home runs. In our replay, he has 8 home runs. Ed Kranepool is batting 231 in the replay. In reality, he batted 215. Elliot Maddox, in the replay, he's batting 213. In reality, he batted 250. So he's off by about 40 points. Chapman is another one who's off a little bit. He's batting 200 in the replay. And in reality, he batted 175. So he's up a little bit. Bruce Beauclair batted 200. And in our replay, Beauclair is batting 100. He's got only 50 at-bats. He got 6 hits and 50 at-bats. Hodges in reality batted 160. And in our replay, he's batting 200. John Stearns in reality batted 240, and he's batting in the game. He's batting 240. In reality, he hit 9 home runs. In the game, he hit 15 home runs. So I mean, there's always these scenarios where guys are not exactly there, but they're close, either in batting average or in home runs. They're almost identical. Joel Youngblood, 230, 240. In reality, he batted 270, so that's 30 points below. Frankie Taveras, 245. In reality, he batted 260. That's 15 points off. But let's look at Youngblood. Youngblood hit 16 home runs, and in the game, Youngblood hit 14 home runs. So Dan Norman, let's look at Dan Norman. Dan Norman batted 300, and Dan Norman here is batting 311. So anyway, you got some players that are batting a little bit better than what they did, and other players batting a little bit worse than what they did. They could be 10 to 15 to 20 points off, generally speaking. But I mean, it's pretty close. And I've played Stratomatic, I played APA, I played Status Pro, I played all the different games, and you're not getting absolute definitive stats on any of these games, guys. Come on, I don't want to lie to you, and I don't want you to lie to me, but you know that I mean, I see stats all the time, and guys are saying, "Well, he hit 30 home runs in the first month of the season." You know, all right, so it's the name of the game. So he's having a really good season. That's how I look at these, like almost removed from reality in terms of I don't expect them to do what they did in reality. Now, I expect guys that hit 300 to be around 300. But for example, when I did my 2016 Stratomatic replay, it was Cespedes who batted 280 for the Mets. He was batting 200. And I had a couple players like that who were batting, 50, 60, 70 points lower than they're supposed to. And Stratomatic is a good game. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, Stratomatic is not a good game. It's a good game. It's a lot of fun. But I just don't worry about something that a lot of guys worry about, and they attack the game because their stats are not coming out, identical to the season stats. As long as home run hitters have a chance to hit home runs, and top hitters have more chances to get more hits, and so on and so forth. I'm fine with that, but I like to play these games so that guy, that that platoon player, comes in and gets a couple of hits and wins the game. That's what baseball is all about. It's the unexpected. The unexpected is what attracts me to our this amazing game of baseball that I love, and that's the aspect that I really like. That you don't know what's going to happen, and the unsung hero, Ed Kranepool. Ed Kranepool, like he's batting 231. In reality, I think he batted 210 or 215. Ed Kranepool has 3 home runs. In reality, I think he had 2, and that's it. That's pretty much. This is his last season in the majors, so you won't see Ed Kranepool after 1979 with the Mets. Elliot Maddox, I feel Elliot Maddox is having a poor season in my replay. Doug Flynn is batting 40 points below what he should be batting in my replay. But the weirdest thing is he's got 60 RBIs in my replay. In reality, where is he? Doug Flynn. In reality, oh, it doesn't give me his RBIs because you can't control RBIs. You get a hit when there's guys on base. I mean, I don't know if you can reproduce that. I guess you can reproduce homers, doubles, and triples. Let's look at Lee Mazzilli's doubles. Mazzilli in the replay has 27 doubles. In actuality, he had 32 doubles. So pretty close, right? In actuality, he had 4 triples. In our replay, he has 4 triples. So there you go, right? A lot of similarities there. In reality, he had 85 walks. In our replay, he has 72 walks. So let's look at John Stearns. John Stearns hit 31 doubles. In our replay, he has 36 doubles. He hit 2 triples. In our replay, Stearns has no triples. He hit 9 home runs. In our replay, he has 15. But I swear he hit 5 home runs the first month. And after that, hasn't hit really that many. Now, he had 47 walks. In our replay, he has 47 walks. So I'm going over John Stearns' stats using payoff pitch. And you hear that? In reality, he had 47 walks. We got 10 more games to play. And in our replay, Stearns has 47 walks. So those are identical. Strikeouts. He struck out 56 times. In reality, Stearns struck out 56 times. And in our replay, he's striking out 45 times. But we still have 10 games left. So let's look at somebody else. Let's look at Hebner, who played the whole season. Hebner had only 25 doubles. In our replay, Hebner has 19 doubles. He had 2 triples. Hebner has 1 triple. Hebner hit 10 home runs. In our replay, he's hitting 8 home runs. Hebner walked 50 times. In our replay, he walked 48 times. Hebner struck out 56 times. In our replay, Hebner striking out 57 times. So what can I tell you? It's pretty close. Again, batting average. You know what? But also, batting average could have been affected by the way I played it. I may have left like the starting pitcher in there, the better pitchers in there a little bit longer than I should have. Perhaps I don't know. Because I try to have a tendency to do that because I'm trying to make the game go a little. I'm not really into making lots and lots of pitching changes because it slows down the whole game. I'll do it with the modern seasons, but 1979, I don't want to do that. But maybe early on in the season, I wasn't making as many pitching changes because I didn't know really the players that well. But with time, I started learning the players, and I started saying, okay, they were using these three main relievers, so I can bring them in. And I would just kind of bring those relievers in the minute I saw that it was required. But now on the pitching side, right? This is another thing. I don't know that you can recreate pitching all that much. Um, let's look at, for example, some pitchers here for the Mets. Right. Let's look at Craig Swan, their ace. Right. I have him pitching 33 games. Craig Swan. In reality, he pitched 35 games. Okay. Craig Swan is 11-12 in my replay. In reality, he was 14-13. He pitched 251 innings. In reality, in my replay, he's got 244. His ERA in reality was 3.29, and my replay is 3.02. In my replay, he struck out 141. In reality, he struck out 145. He walked 57 in reality. In my replay, Craig Swan has walked 41. So, I mean, relatively speaking, they're pretty close. I mean, let's see, who else do I have here? Kevin Coble, he's another one who's pitched the whole season. Coble, 160 innings pitched in reality. In my replay, he's got 160. He's started all the games he can start, pretty much. I don't think he's starting any more games. Kevin Coble had an ERA in reality of 3.51. In my replay, he's got an ERA of 4.30. So the ERA is a little bit higher. He allowed 14 home runs. In my replay, he allowed 19 home runs. He walked 46 in reality. Coble in the replay walked 46. He struck out 67 in reality. In my replay, he struck out 54. So let's see who else. Pete Falcone, left-hander for the Mets. In my replay, he's pitched 194 innings. In reality, pitched 184 innings. In reality, he was 6-14. In my replay, he's 5-17. His ERA in the replay is 3.66. In reality, it was 4.16. He gave up 24 home runs in reality, and in my replay, gave up 30 home runs. Walked 76. In reality, in my replay, he walked 55. In reality, he struck out 113. In my replay, struck out 111. So that is Pete Falcone. Those were the three main guys who started most of the games during the course of the 162 games. I'm up to, I got 50 and 100. So I'm up to 160. I have about 10 more games, 9 more games to go. Who else do I want to talk about? Really, any more pitchers? That's it. Because nobody else really started a lot of games for the Mets. Let's see who else had a lot of innings pitched. No, that's it. Pretty much those were the three main starters. So yeah, so batting and pitching. I mean, this game stands up to Taveras. Let's go look at the batting for Taveras. Let's go over how he did. He's another guy who played the whole season. Frankie Taveras. All right, so Frankie Taveras. Um, in reality, he batted 260. In our replay, batted 244. In reality, he had 26 doubles. In our replay, he has 18 doubles. He had 9 triples. In reality, in our replay, he has 11. He had 1 home run in reality. In our replay, he has none. He walked 32 times in reality. In our replay, he walked 25 times. He struck out 70 times. In reality, in our replay, he struck out 54 times. Stolen bases. Let's see. He stole 27 stolen bases in our replay. In reality, he had 42 stolen bases. So, maybe I needed to steal more with him, and I didn't do that. So I still have 10 games. I could try to steal once per game. Maybe I'm a little bit more conservative because a lot of this is how I play the game as well. I don't run as often as they would. I'm supposed to roll every time, but against the good catchers, I wasn't trying to get a lead. I was just like, no, I'm not running against Johnny Bench, or I'm not running against Gary Carter. So, they're pretty close, and it's a fun game. Now, if I had to say where I'd like to see improvements, I definitely want to see an improvement in the area of the rare play charts. This needs to be revamped, absolutely, and without a shadow of a doubt. Bases empty rare plays are basically an injury chart. So it shouldn't even be a rare play. It should be pretty much an injury chart. There's a couple of things there, brawl erupts, but everything else pretty much is a pitcher's ejected, a batter's ejected. I don't know. It just doesn't convince me. I had like 3 or 4 rolls on this chart in this last game, and they were all injuries. So there's a lot of injury. I think that should be something totally separate. There should be like another chart for injuries of some kind. I don't know. I don't play with injuries, so I really don't care. But then a runners on base is good because you get your wild pitches, you get your pass. Well, not wild pitches, but you get your pass balls. You get your pass balls, catcher range. Prevents a pass ball if he has a good range. If he doesn't, it becomes a pass ball. You even have a wild pitch here as well, depending on the pitcher's rating. So I think we need to update this. Now there is another chart, another additional chart that was created by a player. But I'm going to do another payoff pitch season of some kind. But I'm not doing any more losing seasons like this because this was very painful, guys. Losing 100 right now, I'm up to lost 102 games, and I've been through this for a year now, and this has been painful losing 102 games. So it's kind of. So I'd rather play. I hate to say it, but you want to be able to win some games. You don't want to lose every single game. It's just hard to play that way. But it builds character. I'll tell you, it builds character, and that's it. That's it. That's all I want to talk about tonight. Payoff pitch. Great little system. In every other way. I mean, the fact that everything's off the cards is great. So I'm selling my 1979 set. I'm selling it for $30. It has all the players. I already used it up. I'm not going to play 79 again. That's for sure. And so if anybody's interested, contact me. Just send me an email and let me know. So Ben is around. Yeah. So anyway, and that's it. That's it for tonight. This is CP Cards and Dice saying thanks for stopping by, guys. I will play another game. Now we go to St. Louis, or St. Louis comes to town, I believe. St. Louis comes to New York. So I get to play Keith Hernandez, which is nice. I'm down to my last 9 games, and I'm kind of struggling getting through it because I already pretty much have the stats the way they're going to look pretty much. I mean, I don't see a lot of changes happening. Um, so I feel like season's over. I already got the stats as close as I'm going to get them in 9 more games. But 9 more games, I still want to play them out. So I got to pull St. Louis. Let me see where I got St. Louis here. St. Louis, Busch Stadium. There it is. So these are beautiful cards on the market. I'll tell you right now. Payoff Pitch has the best cards by far, best prices by far, for quality and for game reliability, game value, game realism, and so forth. So yeah, Payoff Pitch, great little game, and fast action cards are gorgeous as well. Chartless, you don't have to pick up any charts. It's very unusual. So anyway, CP Cards and Dice. Who's there? Ben. Those are amazing stats. They are practically nuts on. Well, yeah, I mean, they're pretty much on. I mean, something like the averages sometimes can be off, but then you look at doubles, you look at triples, or homers, or you look at walks, you look at Ks, and they're all on. So I think it's the batting averages that are tricky. I don't know. Just like you can't reproduce. I don't feel you can reproduce ERAs with any game. I really don't. It's just something that you can't reproduce. It's too many factors go into how many runs a pitcher gives up. It's just too hard to just replicate that. Exactly. There's too many factors. What's going on. So I don't worry about that. But you know what was right on, Ben? The 1-loss records. Like, I told you about the Falcone, right? Falcone was 6-14 in reality, but in our replay, Falcone was 5-17. So that's real close, And the everything else was pretty close. The ERA was a little bit off. Actually, Falcone had a better ERA than he really had, and Kevin Coble had a worse ERA than he really had. So, by about the same amount. And that's what happened. And then I have one guy that's batting 30 points higher than he should, and another guy that's batting 30 points lower than he should. So I don't know if you can control any of those things. And I don't worry about that. I just have fun rolling the dice, and I'm playing. I got a bunch of different things I'm doing. Deep Drive Baseball, check that out for $1. You can check it out. You can try it. And I've been playing 2019 season, and it's a lot of fun. It's easy to play. There's a lot of strategy though. You gotta bring in your lefty righty. You gotta do your platoons. You got to bunt. You got to take the extra base when the odds are in your favor. You got to steal when it's an advantage to you, and you got to take everything into consideration. So it's got a lot of its little strategy. So it's 11 o'clock. This is CP Cards and Dice saying have a nice time. Thanks for stopping by. Contact me, Tony Porter, on Facebook anytime you want. Ask me questions, and we'll chit chat. Join the discussions on the forums. So long. CP Cards and Dice. See you guys later.